All right, everybody, my name is Jason. This is Cahuenga Farm, and today I thought I'd talk to you about our pigs. This one right here is one of our first batches. Her and her 3 other sisters were the first 4 pigs we ever bought. We got them just off of a local-ish breeder. I met him in front of a feed store. There was kind of this farm event. He had some pigs. We were interested in getting into some pigs. Duroc, Hampshire, pretty popular breeds. We're like, okay, let's do this. As far as I could tell, as a complete noob, the piglets looked okay. They looked like normal piglets. They didn't look like anything was wrong with them, so we got them. So we got those 4. We've sent 3 to the processor. We learned a ton over this past year having them. If I was asked the question, will you continue to raise feeder pigs? The answer is yes. There's no doubt in our mind that we will always raise our own pigs for our own pork, no matter what. Okay, so that question has been answered for us. It's well worth it. It's all worth all the trouble of the fencing, the cost of the fencing, the cost of the feed, the daily chores. We will continue to do it. It's one of those things that I think the pork is good enough that if you're looking to raise feeder pigs, do it. The next question we're trying to answer is breeding worth it? Do we want to breed our own piglets and raise them up? That comes with a whole new setup. The feed is different. How much you feed is different. The way you feed is different. The type of feeder you have is probably different. The fencing is different because they're much larger. Keeping them in the same area is different. We're kind of answering those questions. Is it worth it to keep pigs year round? And we were lucky enough to have our neighbor who had a boar that was able to breed her. At least we hope. He mounted, we saw it. We saw the excess, if you've ever seen pigs breed. We're like 90% sure, based on our very noob status and no actual proof, that she's pregnant. And basically we can see the roundness of her belly. The last 2.5 months, we have not seen her go back into heat. So we're pretty sure she is pregnant. As far as keeping an extra sow, right now, it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. But again, we haven't had any piglets. We haven't had to raise piglets, keep them warm, keep them safe, deal with the death of them if that happens, etc. It's gonna happen, right? Every farmer deals with death. And so we're just trying to figure out, is that something we wanna do? So that's what Little Miss is here for. She is answering that question of, do we want to breed? The answer to that question should be yes, because let me show you the rest of our pigs. We got a lot. These are our next set, and these are for us, personal use. We're not selling them, we're not marketing them, but they are answering questions for us. The questions we're trying to answer with them is, these are half Kune-Kune, half larger breeds. Is mixing Kune-Kune into a larger breed worth it? Are they calmer? Are they more gentle? Are they easier to raise? Is the meat quality better? And that's honestly what I'm worried about. I don't think I'm necessarily worried about aggressiveness of pigs, because we can just keep them maintained and we don't hang out with them. Plus they're meat pigs, so I'm not trying to be friends with them, right? But is Kune-Kune meat worth it? The purebred Kune-Kunes will tell us if purebred Kune-Kune meat is good, and then we'll have it to compare standard Kune-Kune mixes. So that's what they're there for. Now, we bought them off of a local breeder. We're not breeding them ourselves. But if it turns out good, then maybe we'll try to do some crosses with them. If you look at them versus our other pigs, and it would be hard to show on camera, they are much chunkier. Now, they don't necessarily look fat like an overweight pig. They look like a big boned pig, if that makes sense. They just look like they are more delicious, we'll say, okay? And that's what we're answering with them. So those are for us and for us to share with friends and family and stuff like that. They're not about making money. We're not selling them. Those are for us. Over here, these black and white ones, and then this little runt over here, the all black one, they're Berkshire Hampshire crosses. They are here to answer the question, do we want to raise pigs for other people? 2 of them are sold to our cousins. The other 2 will come available once we kind of have them closer to size and a butcher date. I don't want to promise anything to people yet because we're still new at this, we're still learning. I don't want to say, hey, they're going to be ready late December and I can't get an appointment until February, and I don't want to book a January appointment if they're not ready until March. I estimate 9 to 10 months for how we do it, and that's just it. I want to wait until we're a little closer. However, the benefit, they're all girls by the way, except for the other two, which I'll get to in a second. But the benefit of raising gilts for meat is that if you have a boar, which we do, if we can't sell the gilts, I can just match up the boar because they're about the age of breeding and get a litter from them. If the litter comes out and I can sell all the piglets, I recoup my cost of raising that pig. I can then try to sell the meat, or I could just put the meat in my own freezer. And maybe that's what I do. Maybe we raise gilts, we breed them, we sell off the piglets, that pays for our pigs, then we send that sow to the butcher. That's what we might do with one of them. So one might be for sale, two might be for sale. We don't really know. Questions that we are asking ourselves. So these other two in here, this one right here, and this one right here, they are barrows, but they are Meishans. They're actually a little bit older than these ones. I don't know if you can really tell right now, but if you see the size difference, these guys or ladies are much bigger than the barrows. So if you think barrows should be bigger, or here's a good one. Can you see that? Much larger than the Meishans. But we're trying to figure out, is Meishan meat worth it? Basically, we have two barrows that we bought purely for meat to raise them out, butcher them, send them to the butcher, and see, is Meishan meat that much higher of a quality that it's worth the cost to raise them or buy them and raise them for meat? So we're answering a lot of questions with our feeder pigs, and let's get to all of our gilts that are ready for breeding or for breeding. All right, so I had to get my Asian squat because they're getting a little crazy when I was standing up walking around. But anyways, so we have a purebred Berkshire gilt and then two Meishan gilts. One there, and then this one who's in heavy heat and being very annoying. But we have them to answer the question of, do we want to breed more premium breeds? And I got a lot of questions about pigs. I'm trying to answer a lot of questions for ourselves all at the same time. I'll tell you what, it's very expensive and very stressful to do this, but that's just kind of where I live at. This one's probably gonna be purebred Meishans. And then this Meishan over here, we're gonna cross with the Berkshire boar. And then this Berkshire gilt, we're gonna cross with a Meishan. And so then we wanna answer the question, which way is better? And is that cross even worth it? So to give you a little bit of information about Meishans, I think a lot of people know about Berkshires. They're kind of just high quality, large growth pigs. But Meishans are very prolific. And that's one of the reasons you get them, right? So the Kuni-Kunis, they might have a high quality meat, but their litters are generally smaller than large breed pigs. That is not true with Meishans. Meishans are smaller in general, like Kuni-Kunis, but their average litter can be 15 to 20. So while she might max out at 15, her average could be 15. So we want to know, if we cross a Meishan boar with a Berkshire gilt, what is that piglet going to look like versus a Meishan gilt and a Berkshire boar? So this is kind of like as good of a comparison as we can get. We can get a higher quality Berkshire, but I mean, if you look at her, man, she is stout. Like, look at that ham. Oh yeah. Versus Meishans are like the white girls. They got no booty whatsoever, but big old belly. That's not a white girl thing. The hams. Yeah. Anyways. So this right here is our Kuni-Kuni boar, and that's kind of all you really need to see. I'm gonna go walk over towards the gilt, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Kuni-Kunis and our final plans with raising pigs. So this is our Kuni-Kuni sow, gilt, whatever you want to call her. We got them, basically I had no plans on actually getting Kuni-Kunis yet. I was really interested in other breeds, but some guy, one of the guys I actually got another Kuni-Kuni off of, or the Kuni-Kuni mixes off of, he kind of tipped me off and said, hey, you know, there's someone local if you're looking for him, blah, blah. I kind of looked, I asked her the price, and I couldn't believe it, and I couldn't pass it up, because for full grown-ish, right, they're just over a year old, breeding pair of Kuni-Kunis, $400 bucks. Piglets cost $200 to $250 where I'm at. I just couldn't pass up that deal. Piglets sell for $200, like minimum. Even if I sold them for $150, 1 litter, I will make all my money back plus what it costs to feed them. But yeah, so we kind of have all of the breeds. There's a few other breeds I want to try. If we really get into it, then I kind of want to spend the money to get like the high quality stock, right? But we're not there yet. We're still trying to answer a lot of questions for ourselves as far as, do we want to be pig farmers or not? So as you can tell, I have a lot of questions and I'm very curious. And I'm hoping to share a lot of this with other people. Whether you watch the YouTube channel, you follow us on Instagram, or if you're able to visit us someday and eat some of this pork. Maybe even buy it from us whenever we start to sell. That's it. I'm just gonna close out this video, or else I'll just keep rambling. But if you have a question I didn't answer, leave it in the comments below. Subscribe and like. I'll see you guys on the next video.